Star Wars Episode 7, Shadows of the Past. Chapter 1, Children of War. A galaxy struggling to recover. The tyranny of the Galactic Empire has ended, and the new Republic rises from the capital world of Coruscant. Yet victory has come at a terrible cost. The Imperial Remnant, driven to the Outer Rim, fights to survive on barren worlds, their fleets shattered and their people starving. While the Republic rebuilds, whispers of unrest echo through the Senate. Old hatreds endure, and secret factions within the government seek vengeance on the defeated enemy. As the Jedi Order rises anew, under the legendary Luke Skywalker, an enemy within begins to stir. And the fate of the next generation is about to be decided. A crippled Imperial shuttle drifts through the void, its hull scarred and smoking. Behind it, a new Republic corvette looms, ready to intercept.
Can you believe this? Another Imperial Remnant run. At this point, they ought to just start another war and get it over with.
Careful what you wish for, kid. I lived through one more. I don't want to live through another one.
Yeah. Pass me the vibro cutter. All right, let's open this tin can. What was that?
As the room is bathed in the crimson light of a red lightsaber, a cloaked figure bearing the tattered armor of an Imperial Shadow Guard is revealed. The plating scarred, the red visor gleaming through the drifting smoke.
No. Please, no.
Uncle Luke, look what I found.
I am your master, boy, not your uncle.
I miss my dad, Uncle Luke.
I'll always be here for you, Ben. Always.
The breath breaks the silence. Ben Solo opens his eyes, thrown from meditation, heart pounding, muscles coiled. What were memories moments ago now feel like fuel. Light floods his vision, resolving into the circular training arena of the Jedi Temple on Yavin 4. Around him stand his peers, his master Naro Solar, a towering presence draped in olive robes trimmed with deep red, his long silver hair and beard flowing as he moves, pale eyes clouded yet piercing. Watching from the balcony, Grand Master Luke Skywalker, his beard neatly trimmed, his dark robes lined with white. The years beginning to mark his face without dimming the calm in his eyes. Beside him stands Mara Jade, her flame-red hair caught in the temple light, poise and confidence in every motion. And near them, silent and steady, Ahsoka Tano, her blue and white montrals casting long shadows across her calm and watchful face. All eyes wait to see if the heir of Skywalker is ready to take his first step as a Jedi Knight. Ben Solo stands at the edge of the Yavin Temple's training hall, young, dark-haired, his face tense with determination. Stone walls echo with the quiet hum of anticipation. Below, 3 opponents eagerly anticipate him with sabers ignited. Above, masters and Padawans watch in silence. And presiding over all, Ben's own master, Master Naro Salar.
Jedi have been keepers of peace and justice in the galaxy for generations. But peace is not born of comfort. Sometimes our duty demands action. A Jedi must be ready to overcome any odds. Now show us, my young apprentice. Are you ready?
The trial begins. 3 opponents close in. Ben Solo moves carefully, defensive, each block neat, each breath measured. The crowd murmurs. Even outnumbered, the boy holds his ground. He's fast, too fast for training, acrobatic, reckless, alive with the power of his bloodline. But unrefined power burns quickly. Exhaustion creeps in. 3 blades press him backward. 1 strike knocks the hilt from his hand. His saber skitters across the floor. Ben stumbles to one knee.
Ha! Look at the wannabe Skywalker brat now. Maybe his mommy should have taught him how to fight. Oh, but she couldn't, could she?
Ben's eyes widen with fury. His saber flies back into his hand. 2 quick blows, and the mocking apprentice falls, both arms severed. Gasps filled the arena. Ben's anger turns inward, then outward, blowing the remaining 2 apprentices away, slamming them against the arena walls.
Boy, what have you done? You've finally shown us your true colors. You will never be a Jedi. There is too much of your grandfather in you, a reckless beast. And now you proved it.
You can consider that his trial of the flesh.
Ben, that's enough. I heard what they said about Leia, but that cannot be justification for doing this. Mara, see to the wounded.
Already on it.
This just proves what I've been saying all along. My apprentices lie maimed and broken against the walls. This is what comes of your indulgence.
That's enough. Both of you. We need to...
The floor shakes. The temple itself groans under the shock. Somewhere beyond the arena, an explosion rips through the upper halls. The first to move is Ben Solo.
Ben, wait!
As Luke's call fades through the halls of the temple, tremors from the corvette's impact ripple outward. On the far side of the temple, 4 cloaked figures move through the shadows, armored as Imperial shadow guards. One among them wears heavier plating, their stride deliberate, commanding. While the temple reels from the blasts above, they use the chaos to infiltrate the Jedi archives. Before them, the great vault door stands sealed. The armored leader raises a hand. Metal groans, circuitry whines, and the lock yields with a hiss.
Take it. Secure the data. Go.
3 figures turn to leave with their prize. The leader lingers, eyes scanning the endless shelves of crystal and parchment through their visor. The crackle of fire grows as they drag their blade across shelves, igniting scrolls and hangings.
This will keep them distracted.
the archive begins to burn.
Stop right there!
One of the fleeing guards pivots to return, but the armored leader raises a hand, reaching out through the force, collapsing a pillar to cover the exit.
The information in that holocron is worth more than my life. Go, while there's still time.
Ray!
The other two guards seize him, dragging him into the smoke as the name hangs in the air.
Well, aren't you noble for a Sith? I always wanted to fight one of your kind. Thought my uncle wiped you all out. Nice to see there's still a few left for me to deal with.
What's happening here is beyond your understanding. Walk away with your life while you still can.
I am a Jedi, and you are a Sith. That's all I need to know.
Arrogant Jedi. I
am no Sith.
She lifts her helm. Ash light reveals a young woman, pale skin, brown hair falling loose, eyes not yellow with hate, but clear and alive.
Call yourself whatever you want. You attacked my home. And now, I get to show everyone that I'm ready to be a knight.
The only thing you're about to show is that you're not ready at all.
Finally, a real challenge.
Blue and crimson meet in a flash of light. For a heartbeat, the fire around them bends, drawn to the heat of their power. Two prodigies of the Force, unknown to each other, yet bound by legacy, circle through the smoke like mirrored flames. Their blades move too fast for the eye, each parry flowing into the next. Ben attacks high, his strike fierce and unrestrained. The armored girl pivots low, meeting every blow with uncanny precision, each motion a dance of instinct and fury. To onlookers, it would seem choreographed, a deadly waltz, born of opposite wills, neither yielding, neither faltering. She moves with cold efficiency, conserving every ounce of strength. He fights like a storm, improvised, explosive, brilliant in his chaos. And in the heart of the burning archive, Skywalker and a Palpatine clash again. Neither gives ground. Stone cracks under their feet, and the ceiling groans above them. At last, their blades lock, inches from each other's faces, blue and red, reflected in their eyes.
Ben!
A single misstep. Rey uses the opportunity. Pain sears through the hall as Ben's saber falls. His right hand severed. He drops to his knees, screaming in pain. The air itself bends around Master Naro Solar as he arrives at the scene. With one gesture, he seizes the girl in an invisible grip and slams her to the floor.
That's enough, kid. You've lost.
Rey glares up at Luke, defiant but beaten.
In the name of the Galactic Senate of the New Republic, you are under arrest.
Chapter 2. Heiress to the Empire. In the quiet depths of the Yavin Temple, a single containment chamber glows. Within, Rey sits bound to a restraining seat, armor scorched and visor removed. The magenta light of the cell reflects in her tired eyes. Beyond the energy field stand Grandmaster Luke Skywalker, calm but watchful. Mara Jade, arms folded. her stance protective. Ahsoka Tano, silent, reading every motion. And towering above them all, Master Naro Solar, his pale eyes cold and unreadable. He is the first to step forward.
You let us strike against the Jedi Archives. The blood of our brothers and sisters is on your hands. What was taken?
Rey meets his gaze but says nothing. Her jaw tightens, defiance without words.
Silence is not strength, girl. It is fear.
Luke senses the crack of anger under his colleague's composure. The tension in the room thickens. He raises a hand, calm but firm.
That's enough, Master Solar. It's better if I handle this.
For a moment, the older man's jaw tightens, but he inclines his head and steps back. Luke crosses the threshold, the light of the containment field flickering across his robes.
You came here for something. What was worth all this death?
You wouldn't understand.
Well, I certainly won't. Unless you give me a chance.
He closes his eyes, reaching through the Force, careful, gentle, searching for her intent. A flicker of darkness touches his senses, cold and ancient. Pain sears through Luke's mind. The sound of that laughter, old, impossible, throws him back. He staggers, breaking the connection.
You're his daughter. You're a Palpatine.
The chamber stills. Beyond the glass, Naro Solar's voice erupts.
What?
The word crashes through the room like thunder. Mara straightens in alarm. Ahsoka's eyes narrow. Luke steps back from the prisoner, regaining his breath.
And now you know. Are you going to kill me for it?
Yes. If justice still means anything.
Luke turns sharply toward him, his eyes narrowing, displeasure flickering across his face like a shadow. The restrained calm in his tone is the only thing keeping the room from breaking apart.
Killing her is not the answer. She's young, barely any older than Ben. It's clear that she has spent her life in darkness. If there was hope for Darth Vader, then there is hope for her.
Hope? You speak of the Butcher of Worlds as if he were a saint. Your father's redemption was convenience, nothing more than a dying man's guilt.
You're wrong, Master Solar. You weren't there at the end. He chose the light. He chose to save us all.
The air between them hums with unspoken history, peers divided by belief.
Arguing about ghosts won't change what's in front of us. She's alive, and her fate still needs to be decided.
Agreed. But Yavin is obviously no place for this judgment. We'll take her to Coruscant before anyone else decides she shouldn't live to stand trial.
Naro's pale eyes narrow, but he says nothing more. Luke steps back to the controls, reactivating the containment field. The girl lowers her gaze, expression unreadable. Outside the cell, the masters file out in silence, the storm between them far from over. Some time passes. The temple has grown quiet again. In the Jedi medical wing, the scent of sterilized air lingers as droids move between curtained beds. Luke Skywalker steps inside to check on his nephew, to see how the boy has recovered from both his wounds and his choices. Ben Solo sits awake on a medbed, pale but alert, His right arm, now a sleek prosthetic of brushed durasteel, flexes in rhythm with the droid's adjustments. He stares at it without expression, the faint hum of servos filling the silence.
You always were impatient. You should still be resting.
It's weird. Almost like I can still feel it. My old hand.
You'll get used to it. Takes time to adjust to the change.
Oh, and we both know I'm famous for my patience.
Ben.
Luke hesitates, his expression shadowed with the weight of what he's about to say.
There's something you should know. About the girl.
Rey, what about her?
We've decided to send the girl to Coruscant for judgment.
Why Coruscant? She attacked the Jedi Temple here. It's not like she's a political prisoner.
Kid, I don't know how to tell you this. She's the daughter of Emperor Palpatine.
What?
I felt it in the Force. You don't forget a presence like that.
Then, why isn't she dead already?
Because killing her won't undo what's been done. We have to understand why she came here in the first place.
Then let me go with the transport. If she's a Palpatine, it's our duty as Skywalkers to make sure another one of them doesn't rise again.
Then, no, you're not ready. You're still healing, and you're angry. That's a dangerous mix.
You think I can't handle myself?
I think you made that very clear when you maimed one of your fellow apprentices in front of a crowd and then made the decision to run off without us and straight into another fight, which resulted in a large majority of the Jedi archives being destroyed. Ben, a Jedi has to think before they act.
For a long moment, neither speaks. Only the quiet hum of machinery fills the space between them.
I've assigned my own Jedi to the transport, people I trust. You will remain here until fully recovered.
Right. Because that's what I'm best at. Getting left behind.
Luke watches him for a moment longer, sadness softening his voice. Not being able to find the words, he turns and leaves. Ben exhales, staring again at the metallic hand. Across the ward, another patient lies awake. The apprentice whose hands Ben severed earlier that day, now being fitted with a pair of gleaming prosthetics. Ben's gaze lingers, and the truth settles in as he looks back at his own hand. For the first time since the duel, regret begins to take root. As night drapes over the Yavin Temple, in the shadowed hangar bay, rows of transports rest beneath dim floodlights, their hulls gleaming silver in the darkness. Between stacks of cargo crates and power cells, Ben Solo moves silently, his robe drawn tight, the hum of machinery covering his footsteps. Ahead, near the loading ramp of the prisoner transport, two voices cut through the noise. The sharp, commanding tone of Master Naro Salar and the steady calm of Luke Skywalker.
He is my apprentice, Skywalker. The decision is mine to make. That boy needs to be expelled from the Order before he drags it down with him.
Ben made a terrible choice. No one's denying that. But let's not forget that it was your apprentices who mocked the death of his mother. Mocking the loss of a loved one isn't the Jedi way either.
Ben pauses in the shadow of a fuel line, his breath caught. The words sting, yet hearing his uncle defend him brings a flicker of warmth, a fleeting sense that he isn't entirely alone. As the argument fades in the background, he slips toward the transport, unseen among the workers and the loading droids. He disappears into the hold, sealing the hatch behind him. In moments, the transport lifts from the hangar bay, carrying both prisoner and stowaway toward Coruscant. Hours pass in the blur of hyperspace. The prisoner transport cuts through the void like a silent arrow, now closer to Coruscant than to Yavin Temple. From the shadows of the lower deck, Ben Solo steps into the light. The Jedi guarding the bridge spin in surprise, hands already moving toward their weapons.
Solo? What are you doing on this ship?
Relax. I'm not here to cause trouble.
You weren't assigned to this mission, Solo. You should still be in recovery.
I needed answers, and I wasn't going to get them lying in a med bay.
You will have plenty of time to explain yourself when we reach Coruscant. Until then, stay out of the way.
Ben hesitates, then turns down the adjoining corridor toward the containment cell.
You're not going in there. Master Skywalker gave us clear orders, and after what you did in the arena, I don't trust you not to kill her.
Ben looks at him for a long moment, then unclips his lightsaber from his belt.
Then here. Insurance. I'm not going to kill her. I just need to talk to her. She maimed me.
The guard studies him, conflicted, then lowers the barrier. Ben steps inside. Rey sits against the wall, bound and motionless, her eyes locked on him, an intense, searing stare. Ben removes his glove, revealing a prosthetic hand. He flexes the metal fingers, the soft whir of servos breaking the silence.
Look what you did to me.
It suits you. You were already as dull as a droid. Now you've got the hand to match.
Just the kind of response I'd expect from a Palpatine.
Don't call me that. He's the reason my mother is dead. I hate his name.
My mother died when I was young too. You don't see me using that as an excuse to blow up temples.
The moment the words leave his mouth, Ben pauses, his own hypocrisy echoing back at him. Just hours ago, he maimed someone he'd known his entire life for mocking his mother's death. The realization hits him like a weight, stealing the breath from his chest. He looks away, guilt flickering beneath his calm exterior. Rey notices the hesitation. She doesn't know why, but she senses the crack, the uncertainty, and seizes it.
And what gives you the right to judge me? You think that robe makes you better than me? You're just another cog in a dogmatic cult.
Her words cut sharper with each breath, until the floor beneath them shudders violently.
We're being boarded. Multiple contacts.
What? How? We're still in hyperspace.
The transport lurches violently. A metallic clang echoes through the hull. An impact, a docking clamp biting down. Ben curses under his breath, realizing his lightsaber is still with the guard. He rushes out of the cell as the sounds of combat grow nearer. The corridor is chaos. The Jedi guards fall one by one, overwhelmed by figures in dark armor wielding vibrostaffs, weapons that crackle with energy at their tips. Their movements are fluid, precise, too controlled, too fast. Ben doesn't need the Force to recognize what he's seeing.
Force users.
He charges into the fray, barehanded, relying on the Force An instinct, he ducks beneath the swing, grabs the shaft of a staff, and sends its wielder crashing into the bulkhead. Another comes from behind. Ben turns, slamming a shoulder into the attacker's chest and throwing him off balance. For a moment, he holds his own, grace and aggression in perfect motion. But then more come, surrounding him. One strikes, another parries, a third sweeps low. The vibrostaffs hammer against his defenses.
They're not with me. You have to let me help. Look at them. Those aren't my shadow guard.
Another blow lands. Ben staggers, the energy crackling up his prosthetic arm. He glances toward the cell, sees Ray still bound, and makes his decision.
Don't make me regret this.
Oh, please.
Together, they fight, back to back. Ray snatches a fallen staff, spinning it with practiced precision, while Ben unleashes a focused force push that sends two attackers sprawling. The last of the boarding party hits the deck hard, unconscious.
You'd better know how to handle a turret.
I can manage.
Ben drops into the pilot's chair. Ray slides into the gunner's seat. The transport bursts free of the docking clamps as Ben throws switches on the console, rolling hard into the void. 3 starfighters streak after it, their lasers cutting crimson lines across the stars. Ben's hands grip the controls, sweat beads along his brow as the ship lurches.
Hold on! This bucket wasn't built for combat.
It just needs to hold together long enough to get us to Coruscant.
Ray's aim is precise. Turbo blaster bursts blossom into fireballs as one enemy fighter spirals away in flames.
Nice shot!
Don't sound so surprised.
The ship jolts as a laser barrage tears across its flank. Panels spark, systems flicker.
Damn, they've got good aim.
Have you tried spinning?
Oh, how didn't I think of that one?
Only one remains, looping behind them like a predator. Ben twists the controls sharply. Inertia groans through the cockpit. The enemy overshoots. Ray tracks, fires, and gone.
I think that's the last of them.
I'm coming over to the cockpit.
Moments later, Ray steps into the cockpit. Smoke curls from a sparkling panel. The blue tunnel of hyperspace shimmers beyond the viewport. Ben doesn't turn. His voice carries the edge of suspicion.
You're not going to stab me in the back, are you?
Please. I'm not an idiot. Coruscant is the closest planet. Whoever attacked us clearly wanted me dead. I don't have my weapon, and this ship is falling apart around us. I'd have to be suicidal to turn on you now.
She drops into the co-pilot seat beside him. For a time, neither speaks. Only the low thrum of the engines fills the space between them. Then, quietly, Ray breaks the silence.
How did your mother die?
She was a senator. Lobbied, trying to end the fighting. Pushing for a treaty between the New Republic and the Imperial Remnant. Someone didn't like that. They assassinated her. Couldn't prove who did it, but the evidence pointed to Imperial Royalists. Ironically, her death forced both sides to the table. The peace treaty was signed in her name. Her death brought peace.
Ray studies him, realization dawning across her face.
You're the son of Senator Leia Organa, aren't you? I've seen her in the old recordings. She was strong and kind. The galaxy lost something rare when she died.
Ben stays silent, sorrow plainly visible on his face.
What about your father? Where is he?
He is different. My uncle talks about him sometimes, when he thinks I'm not listening. After my mother's death, he changed. Blamed himself When I was 5, he handed me over to the Jedi for training. Said I'd be safer with them. He still visited for a while, but by the time I was 7, he'd stopped coming altogether.
Rey turns her gaze to the streaking stars outside the cockpit window. When she speaks again, her voice has lost its edge.
I lost my father when I was 10. Not my blood father. The man who raised and trained me since I was a baby. He kept me hidden, safe. When the Remnant wanted to use me as a symbol, he died making sure they didn't find me.
Silence again. Not cold this time, but heavy with unspoken understanding. 2 children of war, bound by loss they never chose.
We're coming up on Coruscant.
Outside the viewport, the blue tunnel collapses into a sea of distant lights. The city planet fills the viewport, Coruscant's lights stretching from horizon to horizon. Their battered transport limps through the upper atmosphere, smoke trailing like a comet's tail. Then, the radio sputters to life.
Transport Theta 7, this is Coruscant Traffic Control. Due to your sustained damage, you are cleared for emergency reroute. Proceed to Auxiliary Landing Platform 271. Coordinates transmitted.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
The transport shudders through the smog-layer skies, its hull groaning from the stress. Flames lick the wingtips as they break through the clouds toward a lonely pad jutting from one of Coruscant's lower spires. Below, the landing lights flicker to life. Too quiet, too empty. The ramp lowers, metal groaning under their boots. For a moment, there is only the sound of wind and distant traffic. Then, movement.
Down!
Figures surge from the shadows, black armored soldiers and masked assassins, half with blasters, half with crackling vibrostaffs. They surround the wrecked transport in a tightening ring.
Seems whenever I'm with you, trouble follows.
The Navy stopped following me?
Blue and red bolts cut through the smoke. Ben deflects 2 shots, spins, and force shoves another assailant off the platform. Rey fights barehanded, striking with brutal efficiency, disarming, disabling, surviving. But they're outnumbered. Every step forward costs them ground. The air fills with heat and chaos. The transport erupts behind them, a blast of flame and pressure as they both hurl themselves to the deck. Time stretches, sound fades, only the distant echo of fire remains. Ben blinks through the haze, ears ringing. Rey's hand grips the durasteel beside him as both struggle to rise. And then, through the smoke, 3 silhouettes emerge, their armor gleaming gunmetal in the firelight. Shadow Guards. They stand framed against the inferno, silent, implacable, their visors glowing red through the haze.
Finn, I knew you'd find me.
Ben turns towards her, realization dawning. Friend or foe, he can't yet tell. The fire roars louder as the Shadow Guards advance. Chapter 3. City of Masks. Smoke coils through the shattered landing pad. Ben Solo and Rey struggle to their feet amid the burning wreckage. From the inferno, 3 armored silhouettes stride forward, Imperial Shadow Guards, their visors glowing crimson through the haze. At their head stands Finn, armor scorched but unbroken, a vibroblade clenched in his fist.
You!
Ben freezes. Even through the distortion of the respirator, he recognizes the voice. One of the raiders who fought beside the girl on Yavin.
Finn, not now. We need to move immediately.
He's the reason you were captured in the first place. He delayed you in the archives. He's why they took you.
And he's the reason I survived the first attempt on my life. Stand down. That's an order.
Finn hesitates, silently glaring through his mask, then lowers his weapon.
Very well, my lady.
Without another word, Ray grabs Ben by the wrist and pulls him along as the shadow guards form a defensive line. Blaster bolts rain down from the surrounding towers, the surviving assassins closing in from every side. They sprint across the platforms, return fire flashing crimson and blue through the smog. Finn blocks a bolt with his vibroblade, sparks cascading. One guard covers their flank with precise bursts from her rifle. The other tosses a detonator behind them. The blast tears open the deck, cutting off pursuit. Ray doesn't slow. She drives them toward the edge of the spire.
You've got a plan, right?
Of course. Jump.
What? Wait!
Gusts of wind pick up as Ray shoves Finn and Ben both into the void. The group plummets through Coruscant's neon canyons. Speeders scream past in streaks of light. At the last moment, Ray thrusts out her hands. They hit the metal of a cargo skiff and roll. Finn lands beside them, snarling under his breath.
Next time, maybe warn us before you do that.
But then it wouldn't have been as fun.
As the remaining two guards land on the skiff, Ben steers it deep into the Coruscant Undercity, a labyrinth of rusted towers, flickering lights, and endless shadow. Blaster bolts chase them down the avenues until a final hit slams into the skiff, shearing off a stabilizer.
We're hit. I'm setting her down. Hold on.
They slam to a halt against a rusted bulkhead. Without waiting for the engines to die, Ray leaps down, motioning the others forward.
Move. We're not staying here.
They dash into the maze of the lower levels, decrepit corridors where the lights flicker and the air stinks of rust and ozone. The female masked guard halts suddenly, helmet turning.
Here, this way.
She gestures toward a half-collapsed service tunnel, its mouth hidden behind a sagging vendor stall. The group ducks inside one by one. Ben Solo brings up the rear. As he turns to follow, something tugs at his senses. A presence watching. A beggar lies slumped beside the alley, half in shadow, muttering for credits. His eyes track the group, too sharp, too focused for a drunk. Ben hesitates. The other male guard, still masked, tugs Ben into the opening.
Come on!
The hiding place seals with a hollow clang. Outside, the echoes of the city swallow the sound, but somewhere beyond the dark, unseen eyes have already taken note of where they vanished. Far above the chaos of the lower levels, Coruscant gleams in false peace. Within the marble corridors of a private government annex, two figures confer in hushed voices. Senator Dravencore, his eyes sharp behind a statesman's calm, and Admiral Vos Tyne, his uniform immaculate, his tone far colder than his rank implies.
Are the reports confirmed? The girl escaped the landing platform?
Yes, and she wasn't alone. Intelligence says that she was rescued by a group of elite Imperial soldiers. And with them, Ben Solo.
Solo was aboard? He wasn't part of the flight plan?
Apparently. The boy must have smuggled himself on board. Typical. That whole bloodline is nothing but a nuisance. His presence and continued survival complicate everything.
Understatement. His father's one of our more useful assets. We have no idea how much the boy may have discovered. If the truth about Senator Organa's death comes to light...
Then we lose General Solo, and a sizable chunk of our influence with him.
They stopped beside a window overlooking the city's endless glow. Below, 1 billion lives pulse in time with the lights, unaware that even now their peace hangs on the lies of powerful men.
Then we keep the lie alive. We'll tell General Solo what we need him to hear. That his son was on the transport when it was destroyed. That the Imperials killed him. And do our best to clean up the mess before he is any the wiser.
And we use the girl as bait. Her existence keeps the Jedi chasing ghosts while we consolidate our reach within their fledgling little order.
Then 'tis decided. We speak to General Solo tonight.
Moments later, the scene shifts to a secure briefing room. The lights are low, the air heavy. Across the table sits Han Solo, older now, his hair silvered at the temples, his jacket worn with years of war and loss. He looks tired and ready to be angry.
General Solo, we came as soon as the investigation reports reached us.
Skip the formalities, Admiral. What's the damage?
General Solo, there is no easy way to say this. The prisoner transport from Yavin was intercepted by Imperial Shadow Guards at Ambush Point Beta.
You let the girl get away? Why are you wasting my time instead of sending every available man we have after her?
Your son was aboard the destroyed transport.
Ben?
He must have stowed away. The reports are clear. His biosignature was logged before departure.
Han's face flies through a roller coaster of emotions, disbelief, then realization, sadness, and then quickly the indescribable fury of a widowed husband, now a grieving father.
Put a bounty on their heads. 1 million credits apiece, dead or alive. I want every piece of low-life trash in Coruscant's underbelly chasing them down.
That's a considerable sum.
Let every hunter from here to Hutt Space know the Shadow Guards don't walk away from this.
As you wish, General.
Han doesn't look back as he storms from the chamber, fury and grief echoing in every step. The doors seal behind him with a final hiss, as Tyne and Kor look at each other, unable to contain their happiness. The fool Solo has just sealed his own son's fate. Time passes in the dark beneath Coruscant's towers. The noise of the city above has dulled to a heartbeat, steady, uncaring. Ben Solo moves quietly through the shadows of the hiding place, his boots barely scuffing the damp floor. Ahead, lit only by a flickering overhead light, he sees them, Rey and Finn, seated close together, their armor scuffed and soot-stained, Finn's helmet resting beside them. Finn's face is young and dark-skinned, his short black hair matted with sweat, his eyes soft with relief. Rey's gloved hand rests against his cheek as their foreheads touch, breathing the same exhausted air.
I knew you'd find me.
I don't know what I'd have done if I hadn't.
You'd have been fine. You were always the better man.
For a heartbeat, the chaos fades. In this moment, they're not soldiers or fugitives, just two survivors clinging to what little light they have. From across the chamber, Ben watches. Captivated by the moment and compounded by his earlier talk with Ray, he can't help but feel empathy. He doesn't realize how long he's been staring until another voice cuts through the silence.
You ever heard of privacy, Jedi?
I wasn't... I'll forget it.
Amana leans back against the wall, dark eyes glinting in the low light. Her black hair falls loose over one shoulder, her tone sharp but not cruel. Across from her sits Jaren, a lean, red-haired man with a faint grin and a spark of mischief in his eyes. He tosses a small metal bolt from hand to hand as he watches Ben squirm.
Careful, Amana. You might start preaching the Jedi Code at you. Something about peace, serenity, and absolutely no fun.
I wasn't planning on it.
Oh, look at that. A Jedi with a rebellious edge. To think I imagined you were all made in the same factory.
Ignore him. He starts talking like that when he forgets I know how to aim.
Aw, you say that like you don't love me.
I don't.
You two make quite the pair.
We survive. That's what matters. You're the first Jedi we've actually met. One we weren't trying to kill anyway.
Oh, and how'd that go?
Poorly for us. You people are difficult targets.
Good to know.
Don't get too comfortable. It's not like you're one of us.
And I wasn't planning on becoming one. But right now, we're being chased by the same people.
Then here's to our shared misery.
They sit in uneasy silence for a moment longer, the tension softening by degrees. Outside, the Undercity murmurs, distant, restless, alive. The flickering light above them buzzes, casting shadows that stretch and shift like ghosts on the wall. Then, Amana stiffens and shoots up suddenly. Her eyes narrow, her hand drifts to the hilt of her blaster. Ray shoots up with her, sensing the shift in the air.
I feel it too.
The hatch rips inward, shadows spill through, assassins and cutthroats driven by credits and hate. Ray snatches up her scavenged vibro staff with a snap of a crackling tone as the rest of her group ready their respective weapons. Ben doesn't wait. He surges forward in a hard, driving line, leading the first rush with a crashing parry and an immediate, brutal riposte, where Ray turns space into angles, staff whipping, hooking angles, jabbing throats. Ben takes ground, block, hammer, press. Each blow forces the ring wider, his footwork bullying, relentless.
Left flank, 2 more.
Finn slides to Ray's flank, blade low, precise, economical. He intercepts a lunging staff, binds and twists, exposing a ribcage for Ray's driving strike.
4 more, piling in.
Back corridor, move.
They break in formation, Ray and Finn at the point, Ben guarding their rear, Amana and Jaren firing in measured beats to keep the tunnel clear. A narrow service lane spits them into a garbage chute gantry that overlooks a speeder maintenance strip. Below, a half-gutted cargo skiff coughs smoke. Barely flight-worthy, barely anything.
Good enough.
We don't have time to be picky.
The power cell's sulking. Give me 3 seconds.
Covering. Go, go.
The cargo skiff heaves off the strip, skimming low through a canyon of rusted struts and neon steam. Behind, a swarm erupts, bounty hunters on swoops, and rooftop sect marksmen threading shots through the haze. Ben leans into the chassis, steering with blunt certainty.
Low bridge. Shortcut to the right.
Hold!
Sniper, high left.
We seriously need to reassess your definition of a shortcut if we survive this.
2-1-R6. Need to provide cover.
Ray vaults to the rear of the skiff. No blaster, just her staff and nerve. She plants the humming tip into the strut of a closing swoop. The rider catwheels away into the darkness. The second hunter threads the gap and fires. A hard shot clips the skiff's repulsor vane.
She's going down!
Nearest deck. There. Over by the cantina.
They drop toward a patchwork landing grating barely wider than the skiff. The plank gives way under their weight, and the skiff, passengers and all, tumble through the level below, skidding sideways in a screaming shower of sparks. For a heartbeat, everything is smoke, penetrated by neon colors of the cantina and ringing ears. Footsteps gather on the catwalk above. More hunters closing in. Ben's head swims, ears ringing, vision blurred. The world tilts sideways, smoke, orange light, the stink of scorched metal. Somewhere in the haze, voices shout, weapons clatter, and then...
Oi! Earlobe! Over here! Before the smoke clears.
Through the grey mist, a figure waves from a narrow alley behind the wreck of a cantina. A man in a stained flight jacket, hair the color of sand after a storm, a week's stubble, and a grin that doesn't quite reach his eyes.
And who's this guy now? Ah, mother blasted mercy. Are you lot dense? Move your shiny boots unless you'd rather leave your heads where you're laying.
Blaster bolts hiss past as the smoke thins. Ray snaps a look to the others. No choice. They sprint to the alley, ducking through the flickering shadows after the stranger. The man palms a hidden control on the cantina's back wall. A narrow hatch grinds open. Beyond it, a cramped passage smelling of oil and dust. They pile through. The door seals behind them with a heavy clang. For a heartbeat, silence. 5 fugitives and 1 stranger catching their breath. Then, Ray raises her staff to the stranger's chin.
You didn't answer the question. Who are you? And why would you help us?
Oh, I'm just a fellow fugitive with a bleeding heart, love.
You really expect us to believe that?
Hey, look at the odds, mate. If I were you, one of me. If I were looking to collect that bounty, walking straight into your blades wouldn't be the brightest move now, would it?
Then why help us at all? And wait, did you just say bounty?
You lot haven't been looking at a hollow screen lately, have you? Here, educational material.
A holographic wanted bulletin glows against the wall. The 4 Shadow Guards' armor displayed in stark red outlines. 1 million credits per head, dead or alive.
Oh, well, that's just wonderful. As if the first wave of assassins weren't bad enough.
Oh, you've hit the bloody lottery, my friends. Every scumbag from here to Hut Space is sniffing on your tail.
That still doesn't explain why you'd risk yourself for us.
Ah, missy, you wound me. Didn't I just say it's me bleeding heart? Also, let's just say I may be a former business associate of one Raylo the Hut's current favorite crime bosses here on Coruscant. And he's somewhat displeased with how our last little business arrangement ended up.
So you're saying you've got your own bounty?
Exactly. A price on me head, a few angry creditors, and as fortune would have it, 1 ship sitting in a hangar that can get us all off this rock. Problem is, I can't reach it alone.
So if we get you to your ship, you get us off-world.
If you get me to me ship, and a small commission fee. Purely symbolic, of course.
Ugh, smugglers.
Guilty as charged. Arxiba's the name, and judging by your lack of rejection, I take it we have ourselves a deal. It'll be a pleasure doing business with you, love.
In the flickering light of the hideout, a reluctant alliance is struck. The Jedi, the Shadow Guards, and a scoundrel who just might be their way out. Chapter 4. False Flight. Inside the communications chamber of the Yavin Temple, tension hums louder than the equipment itself. In the center of the room, a flickering blue hologram burns. The worn but unmistakable figure of Han Solo projected above the circular console. Directly before him stands Luke Skywalker, calm but taut. Watching from the perimeter, Mara Jade, Ahsoka Tano, and Master Naro Solar stand in grim silence.
I left him in your care, Luke. I trusted you. How could you not notice he slipped onto that ship?
Han, listen to me.
No, you'll listen. My son is dead because you weren't watching him.
Han, please. None of us were expecting the attack. Half the temple's still being rebuilt. We've been pulling survivors from the rubble since dawn.
General Solo, we're all grieving.
Don't talk to me about grief, Ahsoka. I buried his mother. Now I have to bury him too?
Luke takes a breath, the faintest tremor beneath his composure.
If Ben were gone, I feel it in the Force. He's alive, Han. I know he is.
The only survivors of the attack on the landing pad were the criminals. The daughter of Palpatine, Luke.
Then I'll go to Coruscant myself. I'll investigate personally.
Oh, now you'll go. If you'd been this invested from the start, maybe we wouldn't be here.
The projection fades, leaving only silence and the dim pulse of the console.
You shouldn't go, Master Skywalker. The boy was my apprentice. My responsibility.
Weren't you the one who ordered those transfers to Ahch-To? You should already have your hands full with that. I'll take care of this.
Naro's eyes narrow, a flicker of something unreadable behind his calm. Mara Jade steps closer.
Then I'll go with you. I can't let you face your grieving best friend alone.
I love you, but I have to do this alone. You and Ahsoka stay. The temple needs stability right now. I can handle this.
Mara's jaw tightens, but she nods. Luke turns. The doors hiss open, and cold night air rushes in. Moments later, the Jedi Grand Master's X-Wing lifts off from the temple hangar bay, its engines cutting a silver path through the clouds. Behind him, the Order watches in silence. The chaos of the night has passed. Now the Undercity lies in uneasy quiet, broken only by the groan of machinery and the hiss of leaking steam. In the rusted skeleton of a forgotten maintenance depot behind the cantina, Rey's group has made camp. They spent the night tending wounds and catching what little rest they could. Finn sits near the door, keeping watch, while Ben and Rey sit apart, silent, each lost in their own thoughts. Suddenly, Ben turns, breaking the silence.
Back when we first fought, in the archives, you said I wouldn't understand what you were doing. Why did you attack the temple?
Before the Old Republic transitioned into the Empire, Jedi trainees who didn't have enough of an affinity in the Force for active combat were sent to farms. They knew how to use the Force to grow food in places that were otherwise inhospitable. Remnant space is fractured in two. The Hutts heavily tax all of our trade, and so the upper echelon of the remaining imperial government hoard everything to themselves and their soldiers, while the people below starve. I had to do something, save my people, and your archives held the means to doing that.
So you hijacked a Corvette, crashed it into the side of our temple, and murdered my brothers and sisters?
Hearing the anger in Ben's voice, Finn slowly places his hand on the hilt of his vibroblade.
If you'd have just come to us and told us what you just told me, we would have shared the techniques willingly.
Are you really so sure, Jedi? You want to know how one of your masters reacted when he discovered my lineage? Wanted to execute me on the spot. You lot should add hypocrisy as an official tenet of your religious dogma. I couldn't risk it. There's just too much at stake.
Ben's tone almost shifts to one of shame and disbelief as he lowers his head and reluctantly answers.
In spite of everything, my uncle would have still helped you. I know he would have.
That's your own opinion. And even now, I wouldn't be willing to gamble the lives of my people on it.
The room falls silent again, with all parties dwelling on the words that were just exchanged, even the ones who did not participate. Akseba reappears from the adjoining room, rubbing his eyes, a smirk tugging his face.
If you lot are done lazing around in my hideout, I might actually have a suggestion about how we get to the ship. Preferably before someone decides to blow this whole level sky high trying to get to you.
Ooh, gather around, gang. It's time for some words of wisdom from Scruffy, our new fearless leader.
Why, you should be so lucky, mate. It's a limited time offer.
We're trusting a smuggler now?
From where I'm sitting, it doesn't seem like we have much of a choice.
See, the Jedi gets it.
I never said I trusted you.
That's smart. Keep that instinct.
We move quiet. No noise, no light. If this goes wrong, we vanish.
Oh, quiet, she says. Right, because that's been your style so far.
He's got you there.
A few smiles crack throughout the room as the tension lifts for a single solitary moment before the urgency of their situations comes crashing back down on everyone.
You done?
Yes, ma'am.
Seba kneels and projects a rough layout in hazy blue light. Service corridors, vent shafts, a docking ring half a district away.
Here's how this works. We don't take the main streets. Bounty hunters will be stacked shoulder to shoulder on the main lanes by now, waiting to cash in. We cut through the sub-access tunnels here, level 1313B. Maintenance only, half flooded, smells like coolant and vent things. You'll love it.
I have this plan sounding better by the second.
Then we go vertical. There's a lift shaft here that's off the grid. I've jammed the registry. We climb, not ride. Loud doors get notice, scuttering rats don't. That spits us out 2 levels below the main bay.
Gunmen waiting at the bay?
Obviously. I'd be disappointed if there weren't. But that's where your lovely group comes in.
Spell it out.
You four make a hole, keep 'em busy. I sprint to the freighter, warm her up, drop the ramp, we pile in, we lift off. Easy as pie.
Make a hole? That a professional term for walk straight into a firing line?
Hey, I didn't say it'd be pretty, but it's the cleanest shot you're gonna get. And unless one of you secretly got a private shuttle packed in your pocket, it's the only shot you're gonna get.
And once we get to your ship, You don't just leave us there and vanish into hyperspace?
Oh, Missy, how have I gone through life till now without your endless optimism? Just what kind of a man do you take me for?
A liar?
All right, yes, fine. Historically, I've leaned that direction. But you get me to my ship in one piece, and I'll get you off of Coruscant. Simple exchange of services. You protect me until liftoff, I'll get you clear of the Plymouth before every gutter rat in the lower levels cashes in on your hints.
Then we move.
They leave the safety of the hideout for the tunnels. A narrow artery of leaking coolant lines and steam-choked light. Every step echoes, every shadow could be a hunter. Twice they have to duck into crawl spaces to avoid passing patrols. Once, Finn has to silence a scout with a single clean strike before he can raise an alarm. Quiet, efficient, no drama. At last they reach the docking tier. Seba's freighter waits across the hangar floor, sleek, scarred, running lights cold, encircled by hired guns.
That's them. Cover me while I prime the engines. Keep 'em busy.
Spread out. Don't let anyone get behind us.
They surge forward as one, carving a path through the gunfire. Amana's heavy blaster pounds out cover fire while Jaren's baton crackles through the armor and sparks. Finn charges in close, his vibroblade flashing alongside Ray's spinning staff, every movement in sync. At the center, Ben's saber flares blue, each strike buying Seba the seconds he needs to reach the ship. And then, betrayal drops like a pin needle.
Ah, right. About that ride I promised yous. Sorry, mates, but it's just good business. I get my ship back, clear me bounty, get a little extra for leading you here. And I'll get to live long enough to lose it all again in a game of Pazak.
Now you've got to be kidding me. Called it.
Everyone, take cover.
The hangar dissolves into chaos. This is no rescue. This is an execution. Morning light glints off the endless skyline of Coruscant as a lone X-Wing descends toward a scarred landing platform. The air smells faintly of ozone and burnt durasteel, a reminder of yesterday's chaos. Luke Skywalker leaps down from the cockpit, his cloak rippling in the high winds. His faithful droid R2-D2 chirps at him from the ship. Waiting for him at the platform's edge stands Han Solo, weary, his face hard with anger and exhaustion. With Coruscant security on either side of him and his wife's protocol droid C-3PO standing in the back.
Took you long enough.
I came as soon as I could.
Oh, Master Luke, how wonderful it is to see you again. Might I say, the years have been very kind to you, sir.
Likewise, 3PO.
Han gestures sharply toward the blackened durasteel. Scorch marks streak the platform where the firefight raged, but something about the damage feels off.
This is where it happened. They were diverted here because of hull damage. When we arrived, the transport was burning. Bodies everywhere. No survivors.
These markings. Why is there so much blaster scarring if a fight took place between Shadow Guards and Jedi? And the coordinates. This wasn't the landing pad they were charted to use.
What difference does that make now? The ship's gone, Luke. My son's gone.
Luke kneels, brushing his palm across a scorched section of the durasteel. His eyes close. The air hums faintly with the resonance of the Force.
No, he's not gone. If Ben had died here, I'd feel it. there would be echoes in the Force. He's alive.
Then where the hell is he, Luke?
Knowing Ben, he probably went after the attackers himself.
The Shadow Guards? You think he chased them down alone?
Oh my! Poor young Master Ben.
He's impulsive. It's what he does. He probably thought he could stop them, bring them in, prove himself. But if that's true, he's in over his head.
Oh, why'd he have to inherit so much from us?
Because he's our family, and because deep down he believes he's doing what's right.
Yeah, that's the problem. Come on. 2 men can't search the whole Undercity by themselves. We'll use my resources, contacts, scanners, whatever it takes. We start from my office.
Then let's find him.
The 2 old friends disappear into the heart of Coruscant, their shared grief hardening into purpose. Somewhere beneath the endless towers, Ben Solo is alive and running out of time. The hangar bay explodes into chaos. Their way-off world sits on its landing struts ahead, a battered Lent freighter with scorched scabbed hull plates and a mismatched engine block. But the ramp is already sealed, and the engines are spooling.
Jaren, stop that ship. I want it dead on the ground.
Jaren bolts slow along the edge of the freighter, clutching a rattling tool pack with one arm. He's fast for someone who is still half taped up from the night before. He drops to one knee under the aft thruster housing and rips open a maintenance panel, sparks already licking his hands.
Finn, Ben, with me, we hold the line.
Finn surges forward at her left, vibroblade in hand, a brutal, compact weapon that hums with contained fury. Ray's scavenged vibro staff spins into a ready guard in her hands, controlled, efficient. And Ben doesn't wait. His blue blade whips forward like a thrown bolt of lightning, his stance wide, driving, aggressive. They meet the first wave head-on.
Keep them off Jaren.
At the edge of the bay, Amana has set herself behind a fallen cargo skid, braced, focused. Her heavy blaster kicks and roars in her grip, each shot slamming attackers into the deck. Her job is simple. Nobody touches Jaren.
Jaren, you're clear. Keep working. Almost there. Almost.
He's knelt under the freighter's primary thruster array, both arms jammed deep into the exposed wiring, ripping into the guts the way only a scavenger knows how.
Oh, come on, sweetheart. Just overheat for me.
The ship chokes and dies. The whole frame drops an inch and goes dead weight.
That's it. He is not going anywhere.
The mercs surge harder. One group breaks wide, slipping along the hangar's right wall, trying to flank them, and Amana whips her blaster in that direction. Then she hears it. The change in footsteps. Too close. 3 of them have slipped past cover. On her. Fast. They slam into her position and force her off the gun, into hand-to-hand range. She drops the blaster to avoid a blade through her side and brings an elbow up into a throat. Someone goes down coughing. Somebody else comes in from behind. Amana reacts, pivots, knees the new attacker in the gut, and wrenches his arm backward, till bone pops with a wet snap. But that opening costs her, because across the hangar, tucked high in the scaffolding, a sniper has been waiting for exactly that distraction. Jaren drops. The bolt took him in the shoulder, spinning him into the freighter's landing gear. He hits the deck hard, tool clattering loose.
Jaren!
The sound is nothing like her usual controlled calm. Everything in her rips loose at once, She snaps the wrist of the last merc in front of her with a vicious twist. Then, in the same motion, scoops her heavy blaster back off of the floor, drops to one knee, sights high. And the sniper in the rafters is gone. They don't get up.
Ben, Finn, drop them now!
With pleasure.
Fueled by Amana's fury, they tear through what's left. Finn drives his blade into the last merc on his side, rips it free, and doesn't bother to watch them fall. Then plants his boots in the chest of the last standing gunman, slams him backwards into a bulkhead, and follows with a heavy downward strike that leaves his saber humming inches from the dying man's face. Silence hits the hangar like a dropped curtain. Only the groan of abused metal and the frantic pulse of damaged ship systems remains. Jaren's on one knee now, hand clamped over his shoulder, burned fabric wet under his palm.
Jaren, status.
The ship's not flying anywhere till somebody rewrites half a sublike manifold. So, I'd say, mission accomplished. Idiot.
Her voice shakes just a little, and she's already moving to him, already ripping open a med patch to seal the burn. She doesn't look at him while she works. She doesn't have to. That's when Ray turns. Her head snaps toward movement at the edge of the hangar, toward someone trying to slip down a stack of cargo crates. Ray reaches out through the force and yanks him to the ground, dragging him toward them.
Hey.
With a flick of her finger, Ray drags him across the ground and pins him to the floor at Ben's feet.
You...
Right. Okay now. Hold on. I know how this looks.
Ben stands over him, breathing hard, hair wild, face smeared with carbon and blood. The light of his saber paints Oxiba's jaw in blue. No jokes from Oxiba now, just wide eyes and shallow breath.
You're not weaseling your way out of this, traitor.
Who said anything about weaseling? Look, I was stepping out for some fresh air.
Flat on your stomach, crawling for the exit with your hands out in front of you?
Oh, see, now lie. That was just 'cause I was having this pain in me back.
Amana rushes in past Ben, pressing her heavy blaster against the temple of Siva's forehead as the coils begin to wind.
Wait, please, listen. I can still help you, I swear. Look.
Oxiba struggles to one elbow, hands fluttering like a supplicant.
My boss, me old employer, he's tied up with some very secretive people deep in the New Republic government. Anti-imperial, very influential. They've got credits and friends everywhere. Odds are, they're the ones who put the bounty on your heads.
So you betrayed us to them?
Ah, but I did a trace. Insurance, you see. When I called it in, I logged the comm node. I traced the packet, and look, I've got the source of the call, the location of the node, the place they pinged from.
And you expect that to buy you forgiveness?
No, I expected to buy me a head start. But just maybe it buys you something more useful, a lead. I'm offering you. Give me my life, and I'll hand you the coordinates. You go there, you find the people paying. You end this. It's what we in the business call a win-win situation.
For a long beat, the hangar holds its breath. Then, a small movement. Ray's fingers twitch. Oxiba's hand jerks to shield the data pad, and in the same instant, Ray's eyes harden. With a quick gesture, the pad is now in her hand.
Ben, do it. End him. He's too dangerous to be left alive.
Ben's saber hums louder. He leans in closer, close enough for Oxiba to feel the heat, close enough for him to hear Ben's breath, and for a second it looks like he will, because part of him wants to, because it would be easy, because after the arena, after the archive, after losing his hand, after watching Jaren go down because of this rat, it would feel right. His anger spikes, sharp and bright, but then he hears his Uncle Luke. A Jedi has to think before they act. The blade hovers at Oxiba's throat. Then, slowly, it dips.
No,
Oxiba's breath finally comes out.
he's unarmed. He's not attacking us. And he just gave us the location of their base. And you? Get out of here before I change my mind.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
He eases himself back, hands raised very slowly, eyes on the still-ready circle of killers around him.
Pleasure doing business with you lot, truly. But I get the feeling that it's about time I made myself extremely scarce.
If you so much as whisper where we are.
Who, me? Snitch? Never. Never met you, don't know you, didn't see a thing. Spent all night clearing out a bazaar table.
He backs toward the ramp of his freighter, half bowed, half cringing. In an instant he turns at almost superhuman speeds, frantically raising the landing platform. The ship groans and sputters as he coaxes life back into just enough systems to limp, not jump. She won't break orbit without real work, but she'll fly. Oxiba slips into the pilot's chair and flies away with his life. Silence settles, smoke hangs in the air. The stink of coolant and burned metal is everywhere. The five of them stand in the wreckage of the firefight, breathing hard. Jaren's sitting against a crate now, pale but conscious. Almana is back beside him, carefully finishing sealing his wound with a field patch. Her anger hasn't left her face. Finn wipes blood from his knuckles with the back of his wrist and turns to Ray.
So now what, my lady?
Ray holds the stolen data pad. Its screen still glows coordinates, access routes, coded notations from Oxiba's insurance.
Now we know who's hunting us.
Then we end this, before they send more.
Chapter 5 Revelations of Blood. In the forgotten depths of Coruscant's lower levels, a derelict foundry squats amid rusted columns and steam colored by distant neon lights. Its exterior, cracked durasteel, flickering lights, suggests abandonment. The group approaches it, covered by the thick smog of the Undercity.
Remember, this isn't their main nest, just an outpost. We get in, reach the command center, Jaren slices whatever files he can pull. We find who's pulling their strings, and we cut the head of the snake.
No pressure, right? Just crack the secrets of a sect hidden deep within the government that has enough funding to stage a citywide manhunt. What could go wrong?
You talk too much when you're nervous.
I'm always nervous around you crazy people. It's what keeps us alive.
Jaren uses a scanner to find a hidden panel in the wall tucked away in the foundry's ruins. After a few sluggish motions, Jaren steps back and the outer walls give way to blinding white. Inside, polished durasteel corridors, gleaming tiles, humming lights, a sterile order that feels almost imperial.
How can a single sect fund and build all of this without the New Republic knowing?
Who says they aren't aware of it? Look around you. This is infrastructure.
They move information. Ray leading point, Ben close behind, Finn covering the rear. Amana advances with her blasters set to stun, each motion crisp and quiet. Jaren lags slightly, hand pressed against his shoulder, a datapad cable running from his gauntlet into a wall panel. The following door yields to his skill, sliding open with a whisper. The team slips deeper into the belly of the beast. A warren of corridors, too clean, too new.
2 ahead, take them.
Amana lowers her weapon, expression flat, efficient. They drag the bodies behind a corner. The silence returns, thick, uneasy. They press on until a final blast door blocks their path. Broad, reinforced, humming with shield power, Jaren drops to one knee, tools sparking as he works the panel. His breathing is shallow, every movement careful, but slower than it should be.
We're exposed here, Jaren. Can you open it or not?
Jaren doesn't answer right away. Sweat beads at his temple. His breathing grows shallow. The pain in his shoulder flares, nerves screaming under the bandages. For a heartbeat, the weight of exhaustion, blood loss, and pressure catch up to him. His hand slips, just a fraction, crossing 2 wrong wires.
So much for subtlety. Positions.
They wheel around, the door ahead locked solid, the corridor behind filling with descending turrets and armed guards. They're boxed in. Ben steps forward, saber raised, intercepting the first barrage. Bolts ricochet blue and gold across the walls as he deflects shot after shot, every movement deliberate and disciplined.
Finn, with me. Push their line. Amana, take the turrets.
Ray and Finn advance as one, a seamless rhythm of blade and strike. Amana drops to a knee, picking off ceiling turrets with surgical precision. Ben stands in their center, defending all of them, absorbing the storm. Behind them, panicked by his misstep, Jaren grabs his side pistol and twists around to add his fire to the fight, but the motion rips further through his injured shoulder like lightning. He gasps, the color draining from his face, and collapses sideways against the wall. The others blur in his vision as he looks up toward them, flashes of red light, blue saber arcs, the echo of shouted commands. The noise folds inward, distant and hollow. A high-pitched hum replaces the chaos, and the world narrows to the flicker of alarms reflected in his eyes. High above the endless sprawl of Coruscant, the city never sleeps. In a private office overlooking the Senate district, 2 men stand before the glow of a holo display. General Han Solo and Jedi Grandmaster Luke Skywalker. Between them, rows of field reports flicker in shifting hues of blue.
That's the 5th shootout in 12 hours. And this one happened in a hangar bay near the industrial levels. Reports say someone was swinging a blue lightsaber.
Ben, that's the first solid lead we've had.
You were right. He's alive.
Now that we know he's still alive, we just have to reach him. We should...
Luke is interrupted as a second hologram brightens. A transmission from Yavin 4. Mara Jade and Ahsoka Tano stand in pale blue light, their faces tense.
Luke, we need to talk. Master Salars left the temple, again. Said he was heading to Ahch-To to oversee the student transfer.
He didn't even wait for authorization. Just took a transport and vanished before sunrise.
Of course he did.
You shouldn't have trusted him with that responsibility. He always oversteps.
I don't have much choice. Naro Solar was a master before the Clone Wars, one of the few who survived Order 66. Having him in a position of leadership helps ease the concerns of the older generation and gives us legitimacy. I can't raise an entire generation of new Jedi by myself.
Anakin taught me that a leader teaches by example. What kind of example is he setting by undermining your authority as Grand Master?
Exactly. The credibility he brings is far outweighed by his detriment to your standing in the Order.
You may be right, but until we rebuild, we need every ally we can get, even an incredibly arrogant and stubborn one. At least we know we can count on his dedication to keeping the Order alive.
Just be careful, Luke. He's unpredictable.
We'll keep things steady here.
Thank you both. Skywalker out.
And I thought politics in the Senate were a headache. You trying to convince them or yourself?
Both. I'm trying to make the best of a complicated situation, Han.
What I'll never understand is how you could have supported Leia's peace treaty. Isn't the rebuilding supposed to start after the threat is gone?
You weren't against it either, until she was killed. Han, you can't condemn an entire people for the acts of a few. You're letting your grief blind you to what's best for the galaxy. Unconstrained revenge does not equate to justice. Too many people were dying on both sides. The conflict had to end, and she saw that before any of us.
If we'd have stomped out the Empire then and there, none of this would be happening, and my son...
A discreet alert lights Han's console, breaking his concentration from the argument. He glances down, shielding the screen. His expression changes, tightening, eyes narrowing with sudden urgency.
Is something wrong?
Just Republic business. An urgent matter I need to handle.
Han, wait.
You've got your lead, the Hangar Bay and the Saber sighting. Go check it out. I'll have my people feed you any new reports from here.
If anything is wrong, you know you can trust me.
I'm trusting you with my son, aren't I?
Luke watches him go, the lingering trace of fear and conflict whispering in the Force. Something inside Han Solo has shifted, and someone else is pulling the strings. He turns back to the window. Below, the great city blazes in endless motion, and somewhere in that ocean of light, a sun fights for survival. The haze clears. Jaren's vision steadies, the world sliding back into focus. Blaster bolts flash through the corridor, shadows moving fast. He tries to rise, half propped up against the wall, dizzy, pain burning down his wounded shoulder.
We are pinned. They've sealed the door behind us.
Cover me.
His saber, already blazing, sweeps up. Ben turns toward the blast shield ahead, molten sparks spitting as the blade cuts through Durasteel. Finn drops to one knee beside him, slicing through shots with his vibroblade. Rey meets each bolt that slips through. Amana drags Jaren forward. He's conscious now, stumbling but moving. The final seam melts open. Smoke rushes through the gap. They spill into the command chamber, a wide, sterile space lined with terminals and humming conduits.
Down. Get to that console.
Amana takes position above Jaren, heavy blaster thundering. Ben deflects incoming fire. Rey and Finn push forward together, fluid and deadly. One guard falls, another crashes into a console, sparks flying. Moments later, silence. Only the hum of strained machinery remains. Jaren slides into the terminal seat, fingers flying across cracked screens, data streams cascade in alien glyphs.
Wow. There's so much here. There are hundreds of nodes. Crosslinks across Republic channels. This isn't a splintered group. It's a third of the damn government.
Keep digging. Find out who's on top.
He works through layers of encryption, scavenger instincts guiding him past traps and firewalls. Then he spots one directory, locked beneath a dozen seals. In a moment, he cracks it open.
Intercepted communiques, even orders for assassination. Oh, by the Force. They staged the killing of Senator Organa? Framed the Remnant to try to stop the treaty. They used her death in a failed attempt to keep the war going.
Ray freezes, her eyes going wide, realization flooding her face.
Oh, Ben. Your mother.
Oh, I'm so sorry, friend.
Ben stares at the projection. His mother's name, the coded signature of her killers. The air thickens. His breath shudders. He sways as if the floor itself turns against him.
My mom was killed by her own people?
Metal begins buckling around them as Ben clenches his mechanical arm, crates lifting, twisting under unseen force. Ray takes a step toward him, but before she can speak...
Wait! There's another signal, SIM encryption, and it's live.
He opens it, mutes their end. Static clears. Two voices spill into the room. One cold and measured, the other rough, all too familiar.
The Jedi at my command are ready. We move tonight. Erase the girl. End this imbalance.
You can't just flood the Undercity. My son's already down there. You'll get him killed.
Bringing balance to the Force means eliminating the heir of Palpatine. That is more important than one boy. I shall deal with this matter personally. Skywalker lacks the conviction to do what must be done.
That voice. Salar. He's the one who's been hunting me. I should have known.
And who's this guy? And what's this about his son?
That's my dad.
Silence. Even Amana's composure cracks, jaw slack, eyes wide. The glow from the consoles washes across their faces as the truth sinks in. Ben's breath quickens. The weight of it all bears down. His mother murdered by her own government. His father and his master tangled in the same conspiracy. The very people who are supposed to protect him are leading the enemy. Debris trembles around his boots, echoing the storm inside him. No one speaks. No one dares. The only sound is the lingering voice of the conspirators fading into static and the ragged rhythm of Ben Solo's breath. Chapter 6. Fathers and Sons. Ben Solo stands apart from the others. The voices still echoing in his ears. His hand shakes as he stares at the floor, the revelation still pounding in his skull. His father, his master, all of them part of the same lie. Ray approaches him, unsure of what to say.
Ben.
He doesn't look up. Finn steps forward, his voice rough but steady.
We can't stay here. Reinforcements could be here any minute.
Jaren leans against the console, his wounded shoulder bound in half-melted armor plating. He gestures weakly toward one of the blinking monitors.
There's a shuttle bay. Lower level, southeast corner. They still have one shuttle there, fueled and ready to go. That communication was pinging from the Senate Annex. If we want answers, that's where we'll find them.
And then that's where we're going.
You're in no shape to.
And you are? I need answers. And you need the sect off your back. This was always the plan.
Ray meets his gaze for a moment. There is no argument in her eyes, only grim understanding. She nods once. They strip what gear they can from the fallen, patch the worst of Jaren's wounds, and move toward the exit. Every step echoes through the ruined base like a countdown.
If we're heading up there, we're not sneaking our way out of this.
I never thought we would. Just point me to the nearest terminal when we get in. I'll do the rest.
Ray slings his good arm over her shoulder to steady him. Ben takes the lead, cloak tattered, eyes hollow, but burning with purpose. Without another word, the five of them step through the smoke-filled corridor, Jedi and shadows bound by the same fury, heading for the shuttle bay and the truth waiting above. Deep beneath Coruscant, in the aftermath of the fighting, Grandmaster Luke Skywalker walks among the ruins. The hangar once belonged to a smuggler, Ak-Seba. But tonight it is a graveyard. Scorched durasteel, shattered crates, bodies half buried in smoke and dust. This is where Ben Solo's trail went cold.
Grandmaster, we've got most of Level 1313B locked off. 37 hostiles confirmed, no civilians. We've also had reports of a lightsaber wielder fighting a small war in the nearby streets.
Yes, I see the markings here, indicative of a lightsaber as well.
He kneels beside a scorched impact mark, presses his hand to the ground. The investigators step back as the air around him hums, kicking up dust slightly. Through the Force, the room breathes again. He feels it. Chaos, fear, and beneath it all, one presence blazing like a storm. Ben.
He was here, afraid and angry. I sense betrayal.
He follows the echo out through a ruptured corridor into the undercity streets. Every step takes him deeper into the labyrinth. The echo pulls him further. In time, he reaches a half-collapsed foundry choked in smog. Just as he arrives, a vibration through the metal beneath his feet. A massive door slides open in the foundry wall. A shuttle bursts out of the darkness, engines flaming, rising towards the surface levels. Luke shields his face from the blast, eyes narrowing as the Force floods through him. Ben is inside. Luke can sense him, but something is different, raging inside him in a way he's never felt before.
Oh, kid, what are you doing?
He turns, sprinting back in the direction of his X-Wing, cloak snapping in the wind.
Control, this is Skywalker. I need pursuit clearance. Sectors 1313 through 1310.
Luke quickly switches the channel on his comlink over to his faithful droid companion.
R2, I need you to prep the fighter immediately.
His Force-augmented speed makes him almost a blur as he rushes back to the hangar at which he arrived. He blazes past the New Republic guards without a word and slides into the pilot seat of his ship. The engines ignite. The fighter tears upward through the haze, chasing the shuttle's fading heat trail.
Hold on, Ben. I'm coming.
The stolen shuttle breathes like a caged animal on approach. Low lights wash the cockpit in blue. Outside, the Annex sits like a polished tooth in the city, diplomatic, secure, careful. Jaren pilots with one good shoulder and a grim smile. His wound is bandaged but raw. He favors it when the G-forces bite. He moves like a man who's learned to do everything with one good hand.
I can use the shuttle sect codes to get us into the annex without a fuss. But after that, it's all on us.
Good. You just get us in there.
Just don't forget why we're here. Cut the head off the snake and the body dies.
Do with the rest what you want, but you leave my father to me.
Nobody says a word. They know they can't, and Ben's grim facade tells them there's no use in arguing. The shuttle rocks as Jaren lines up the descent. Using stolen sect codes and a practiced hand, Jaren ghosts them into the bay. No alarms, no suspicion. The shuttle slips into a slot meant for authorized diplomats.
Okay, doors open in 30. Let's everybody try to keep our heads now. You hear?
They suit up quickly, mask visors clipped. The salvaged Shadow Guard plates fitted again like familiar armor. Ray checks her staff. Finn flexes his vibroblade, slow and methodical. Amana shoulders her heavy blaster and slides the safety off. Not to fire, but to feel the real weight of it. Ben's hand closes on the hilt of his saber, but he lets it rest in the holster. The corridor outside the shuttle is quiet and too clean. Carpet muffles their steps. The air smells faintly of disinfectant and expensive perfume. The kind of sterility designed to calm the wealthy. Thankfully for the group, the night is late, and the halls are empty, barring a few patrols and maintenance droids. Ray whispers an order.
2 teams. Finn and I take point. Amana, you watch Jaren and cover our rear. Ben, you stay in the center and be ready to assist either team as the need arises.
I know what to do.
Down the corridor, 2 guards stand chatting beside the terminal to the main chamber.
2 targets. They're down. Moving.
They reach the grand doors of the inner chamber. Jaren's fingers fly across the console pad, one sharp deep, and the locks disengage. The door parts. Inside, the chamber bursts into chaos. The sect leaders leap to their feet. Dravenkor, Voss Tyne, a half a dozen others, cloaked in the arrogance of power. Guards swarm forward, blasters raised. Ray and her Shadow Guard meet them halfway. The fight is clean, efficient, practiced. Finn's blade a flurry, Amana's heavy blaster cutting through the armor. Ray's staff snapping against helmets and ribs. And Ben ignores all of it. He pushes through the chaos, straight for the far end of the chamber. Han Solo stands there, wide-eyed, hand hovering near his blaster, but not drawing it.
Do you have no shame?
Ben?
You left me at the temple, like I was nothing. Do you know what that was like? Every day, alone.
What are you doing with these people?
Ben completely ignores the question, lost in his own anger.
And while I was left without a father, you were here, working with them, the same people who killed her.
Ben, slow down. Who killed who?
They killed Mom, and you're serving them. Were you going to kill me too?
Han looks lost, half frozen in disbelief. Behind them, Ray and her Shadow Guard finish the last of the defenders. The smoke settles, the air hangs heavy. Then, as the doors to the chamber open behind them, the moment hangs as if time itself had stopped. As the light of the outside hallway shines behind him, The towering silhouette of Master Naro Solar stands at the doorway. The moment buckles under the sound of his booming voice.
I knew you'd joined the enemy. I would name you a fallen Jedi, but you were never really a Jedi to begin with, boy.
Ben turns. The fury in him ignites faster than his saber.
Shut up!
He charges. It's not a duel, it's a storm, hopelessly crashing against a mountain. Naro Solar barely moves. A flick of the wrist, a twist of the force. Ben's blade goes wide. His body thrown backward as if hit by a cannon. He collapses, unconscious or close enough. Han shouts his name and runs to him.
Ben!
Rey and the Shadow Guard turn to face Master Solar, weapons raised.
Finn, Amana.
They shift formation, blasters and blades ready. Solar doesn't flinch. He only stares them down with his empty grey eyes. The chamber is chaos as the battle begins, and through it all, Han Solo kneels beside his son. Ben's head rests in his father's lap. His eyes flutter, unfocused. For a heartbeat, there's peace. Then awareness hits like a cold water.
Dad?
Han looks down, relief breaking through fear.
Ah, kid. You scared the hell out of me.
No. You don't get to touch me.
He twists away, rolling from Han's grasp. Weak arms shoving against him. The effort drains what little strength he has, but the anger keeps him upright, fueling him. Across the room, Rey and her Shadow Guard stand against the mountain that is Master Naro Solar. Rey moves first, staff spinning, fast and sharp, but Naro's movements are liquid precision, each deflection effortless. He redirects each attack with a motion of his hand. Naro flicks a hand. Finn slams into a column. Rey hits the floor, skidding on marble. Only Amana remains upright, blaster raised. She fires 3 perfect shots. The bolts stop, hanging, humming inches from Naro's hand. He slowly turns towards her.
You think you can harm me, child?
He takes a step forward. From the side, a voice, ragged, desperate.
Get away from her!
Jaren throws himself at Naro, driving with everything he has left. Naro catches him mid-charge by the throat, lifting him easily off the ground.
Filthy Sith trash!
Jaren's face twists beneath his helmet as he gasps for air.
You decrepit old hypocrite.
The crack echoes through the marble hall as Jaren's body goes limp. Amana's scream tears the silence apart.
Jaren!
She fires wildly, grief turning every shot into fire. Naro tosses Jaren's dead body onto Amana, sending her crashing into a pillar, the weight of the body pinning her down. Across the chamber, Ben rises. He hasn't even noticed the death, the fighting, the fire. He only sees his father.
The sect killed her. We saw it. We hacked your files. We saw everything. And you work with them?
Ben, what are you talking about?
Did you help them do it? Is that it? Was Mom just politics to you?
No. Listen.
But Ben's hand is already raised. His fingers tremble. His eyes burn with tears. The air thickens.
Ben, I didn't... No.
It's over before he realizes what he's done. The power fades, and Han falls to the ground, lifeless. Ben drops beside him, horror washing the color from his face.
No. Dad. No. What have I done?
Across the room, Naro Solar turns.
I knew this would end the same way. Given the same circumstances, you would fall, just as your grandfather did. But I will not let you become another Darth Vader.
Rey, Finn, and Amana freeze. Darth Vader. The word hits them like a detonation. None of them speak. None of them dare. Rey catches their eyes, gestures silently toward the exit. Together, they drag Jaren's body from the chamber. Naro doesn't even notice, his pale, unfeeling eyes set solely on Ben. His blade burns to life for the first time. A brilliant yellow line poised above Ben's neck. And then, the door on the adjacent side of the chamber swings open as Luke Skywalker arrives.
What happened here?
Luke rushes into the chamber and freezes. Han lies motionless. Ben kneels beside him, shaking, and Naro stands over them both, saber raised.
Exactly what I warned you would happen. Your nephew has just killed his own father. I told you he should never have been trained.
Luke's face collapses in disbelief.
Ben, tell me you didn't.
Ben staggers to his feet, backing away from both of them, his voice shaking, barely human.
I didn't mean to. You wouldn't understand.
Ben, compose yourself. Why wouldn't I understand?
Through the shattered window, the stolen shuttle rises. Rey's voice cuts through the wind.
Ben, jump! We have to go, now!
Ben lowers his head. The choice is already made.
You wouldn't believe me, even if I told you.
He springs backward through the broken glass, vanishes into the shuttle as it banks and climbs. Naro lunges forward, but too late. Luke stands frozen, eyes locked, on the trail of light vanishing into the clouds. The hum of Naro's saber fades to silence. New light drapes itself over Coruscant once more. The fires have been put out, the reports filed, the silence restored. But in one private communication chamber within the old Jedi Temple, that silence feels heavier than the whole city below. Luke Skywalker and Naro Solar stand at the center of the room, their robes bright against the blue light of two flickering figures, Mara Jade and Ahsoka Tano.
Grandmaster Skywalker, you wanted confirmation? You have it. Ben Solo has fallen. He murdered his father before my very eyes.
His tone carries no sorrow, only vindication.
Han is dead.
Oh, Luke. Did the boy give any indication as to why he would kill his father?
What does the reason matter? I warned you this would happen. You coddled the boy. You excused his anger, his defiance. You interfered in my training. And now we pay the price for your sentiment.
Enough, Solar.
No, not enough. Your family's curse repeats itself, a line of weakness, of darkness. The blame is on you, Skywalker. This just proves what I have known from the start, that you are not worthy of the role of Grandmaster.
Watch your tone, Master Solar.
You, Palpatine's assassin harlot, are not worthy of addressing me. I was a fool to tolerate your presence at all.
That is quite enough.
Master Solar's cold gaze settles on Luke.
You're right. It is.
He turns and storms out of the meeting, his olive and red robes flowing behind him. The call is silent for a moment, before Ahsoka speaks up again.
That didn't exactly sound like he was agreeing with me.
Something about this doesn't seem right. Did you hear the way he was talking? He sounded almost proud.
I sense it too. A disturbance in the Force centered around Master Solar. He's hiding something, and it has to do with Ben.
Then we need to find out what.
Did you see anything on the holo recordings of before you arrived in the chamber?
I saw a recording of Ben arriving with the girl and her shadow guard. There was some kind of argument between him and Han, but I couldn't make it out. The audio was corrupted.
Well, isn't that convenient?
A grim shadow falls upon Luke's face as he continues.
I then saw Ben choking Han. But Master Solar was in the room with them. He could have easily stopped Ben.
Maybe he didn't want to.
That's a serious accusation. But with everything that's happened, it warrants immediate investigating.
Then I leave it to you. But please, do it carefully. Remember, we don't have any proof, and we have no idea who else is involved or how. I have to go after Ben. He's at a breaking point, and he needs me. And I don't trust Master Solar not to go after him.
Be careful, my love, and bring him back safe.
I will. Skywalker out.
The hollows fade. Luke stands alone in the dark, the city's light painting his reflection across the glass. A friend dead, his son lost, but hope is not yet lost. And in his heart, Luke's determination burns bright. He will make this right.